So, are you prepared for the upcoming banking collapse? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about why I think it's coming up and what you should do to prepare for it. All right, so let's get started. This is the Hey Ed YouTube channel, and I am your host, moderator, and all-around nice guy, Edward Anderson. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't construe anything that I mention in any of my videos as financial advice. Always do your own research before doing anything with your money. Today, we're going to be talking about the upcoming banking collapse. I'm going to explain to you why it's coming, and more importantly, toward the end of this video, I'm going to give you solutions, things that you should be doing to prepare for it if you haven't already done them. For a little while now, I've been raising the alarm about the global financial liquidity crisis. I feel the need to bring it up again because it all ties together for the upcoming collapse in the banking system. It's very important that you understand what's going on right now, because you probably think that the money in your bank is safe. Well, it is not, for several reasons. For those of you who've been paying attention, a few weeks ago, Britain had to bail out their national pension system because it was within hours of going bankrupt, and all pensioners in the UK would have lost their benefits. So in the 12th hour, they came in and bought $50 billion worth of bonds to shore up the fund. But that just indicates the fragility of the debt system, not just in the UK, but worldwide. This is a worldwide global crisis. And there are things right now that put the financial system on very thin ice. One major event, and we're going to see a house of cards collapsing. And as soon as that first brand name major bank makes the announcement that they're going under, okay, you're going to see a domino effect. You're going to see in a matter of hours a series of other banks go under. For those of you who are old enough to remember the 2008 to 2010 financial crisis, there was about a 3-month period there where we would wake up on a daily basis wondering whether the financial system was even going to exist. So we have been there before. And the way we saved that system was through very draconian efforts, which we are still feeling the pain of today. So let me show you a few very recent headlines that illustrate my point. Big banks don't have any liquidity. Fundrise CEO warns of impending national liquidity crisis. So it's not just me, okay? I make my statements for reasons, okay? I do my research. Further on in that article, they describe it as a lack of liquidity has widened the gap between investors buying and selling treasuries, creating big swings in bond yields, okay? That's a whole subject about the bond market that I won't go into here. And further on in that same article, Platform Fundraise believes that the U.S. economy is headed for a potentially catastrophic liquidity crisis. Banks making real estate loans cannot cover interest rates that have doubled. So again, the two big words there in that whole article are potentially catastrophic. Right? You have to appreciate what's happened in the real estate market in the past few months since the Federal Reserve has raised an interest rate. The cost of getting a mortgage has more than doubled. So let's pull on that thread a little bit more. Mortgage market upheaval spurs $17 billion in paper losses for banks. Unrealized losses will hinder banks' efforts to boost capital. So there we go. Unrealized losses, right? I mean, this is a shell game, all right? They're hiding stuff. As soon as they realize it, when they say it's unrealized, that doesn't mean they haven't put it on their books yet, because they've got a stock price to protect, right? So they don't want to put it on their books officially yet. So they categorize it as unrealized losses. Well, I mean, the losses are there, whether you realize them or not. $17 billion, okay? Not chump change, even in today's money. I've done some videos very recently about Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank as two banks that I'm watching very closely. This is the way I think the bank failures are going to start. You're going to start with a brand name bank. And the way it's going to happen is it's not going to be a slow burn. You're going to wake up one day and a big brand name blue chip bank is going to be insolvent. That's the way they have to announce it. They can't do it slowly because people will head for the doors. But if they do it all of a sudden, and then you're screwed. Then you can't get your money out of the bank, because remember, any money you have sitting in your bank legally is not considered your money. You're considered an unsecured creditor. Keep that in mind. Any money you have sitting in your bank is not legally considered your money. All this time, you thought you had money in the bank? No, you didn't. You basically loaned them the money and you expect them to have it there for you when you need it. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. Very recently, the Federal Reserve very quietly sent $11 billion to Credit Suisse in order to prop them up so that they wouldn't fail. $11 billion of our money. By the way, this is a habit by our Federal Reserve. They send billions upon billions of dollars to foreign banks, to foreign countries to prop them up. I mean, inflation is running wild here. We have a lot of people hurting in our own country, but do you think they care? No, it's all about taking care of their friends. The Federal Reserve, by the way, is not a government agency. It's a private bank. I mean, that whole name, Federal Reserve Bank, okay, it's not federal. They have no reserves, and it's not a bank. So a complete misnomer. But people think it's an official government agency. It is not. This is a private bank, and they look out for their buddies in the private banking system. So even with that $11 billion payout that came from us, the American taxpayers, we have this headline. Credit Suisse warns of a $1.6 billion loss after clients pull their money. Oh, clients are pulling their money, but what a shocker. What a surprise. Okay, this is what's known as a bank run, okay? Investors can smell blood in the water, and they're getting their money out of their bank while they can. This is the danger with the upcoming banking crisis, that when it happens, you're going to see bank runs, and you're not going to be able to get your money out because they're going to lock the doors. And for the fun of it, let's take a look at the price of the Credit Suisse Bank stock. Okay, this is what it's done in the past year. Okay, so this stock is at a fresh low as of this recording. So this stock is in serious trouble. Credit Suisse, just to emphasize, is the largest Swiss bank in Switzerland. I mean, they're a very big canary in the financial coal mine. But listen, once one major bank goes under, you're going to see a cascading effect. It's going to happen fast. Now, aside from the financial health of the banks themselves, we have overarching financial issues surrounding the banks. Let's take a look at a few very recent headlines. Household debt soars at fastest pace in 15 years as credit card use surges. Okay, so what is that indication of? People are using their credit cards more than ever in history. People know that the interest rates on their credit cards are enormously high, so they don't turn to them until they've run out of all their other money. So when you see people resorting to the use of their credit cards, you know that they're in serious financial trouble. That's why this is a very important metric that you really have to be aware of. And if you're one of those people who have a high credit card debt, we have to find a way to reduce or eliminate that debt, because it is a killer. And I'm going to be talking about solutions here in a minute, so stay tuned. Okay, so let's flush out this point a little bit more. Total debt jumped by $351 billion for the July to September period, the largest nominal quarterly increase since 2007, bringing the collective household IOU in the U.S. to a fresh $16.5 trillion, that's with a T, trillion dollars. And the biggest contributors to that debt load came from mortgage balances, which rose $1 trillion from a year ago to 11.7 trillion, and credit card debt, which climbed to 930 billion. So you have the financial health of the banks themselves on very precarious ground. And then you have the overriding debt issue throughout society on credit card debt and mortgages. This is one that worries me the most, is the issue with mortgages. We've already seen delinquencies on the rise very dramatically in the mortgage industry. This is a repeat of what happened in 2008 to 2010. But on top of those financial issues, I want you to be painfully aware of how the banks are treating their customers. I'm going to show you a few letters that kind of illustrate this point. And please forgive the quality, because these came from friends of mine and subscribers. And so I just took snapshots as best I could. So these are actual letters from actual banks to actual customers. We've added a new condition that says, if it's necessary, due to economic circumstances that affect the banking industry, we may restrict the amount you can have in your account, either by applying a limit or by imposing a charge. If we have to do this, and it applies to your account, will write to you with more information. Oh, isn't that nice of them? They'll write to you. So I'm going to show you another one here, which should really send shivers up your spine. Now, this wasn't actually a letter. This was posted in the window of a bank at a local NatWest branch. And let's read the post. Our primary aim is to keep customers safe and secure, and our branches follow our procedures carefully to achieve this. This will include asking you questions about the purpose of your cash withdrawal, and we may ask for supporting documentation such as an invoice. This helps us validate the withdrawal as genuine and protect you against fraud and scam. Yes, they're doing this to protect you, okay? They're telling you there, you have to justify your withdrawal. You have to tell them what you're spending that money on. And if they don't like your answer, they reserve the right to say no. They reserve the right to say, nope, you cannot have your money. Now, these are two UK banks, but this is happening all over the world, even in America here. If you wouldn't mind, if you have any stories like this, can you share them with my community? Can you, in the comment section, can you tell us your experience? Okay, so you have the health of the traditional financial system in question all by itself. And then you have the way in which the banks are treating you. They're not treating you like a sovereign, personal human being. They're treating you as though they're doing you a favor by letting you have some of your money out when you go to make a withdrawal. This should not only scare you, it should anger you. And it's spreading throughout the entire financial system, throughout the entire world. Again, please share your stories if you don't mind. Okay, so now I want to move on to the health of your currencies. Now, I'm in America, so our fiat currency is the US dollar. Let's take a look at the historical performance of the almighty US dollar. This chart represents the buying power of the US dollar. Okay, so I will let you pause this video and take a closer look at that chart if you want at your own leisure. But let me just summarize that the US dollar has lost 95% of its buying power, 95%. Here's a chart of the highest single month inflation rates of currencies throughout the world, throughout history. Germany, 1923, 29,000%. Argentina, 196%. Zimbabwe, 2,600%. These are single month inflation rates. Okay, now you're saying to yourself, oh yeah, look, Ed, that could never happen here. It's the US dollar. Really? That's what you're going to tell me? Well, let me retort, okay? Fiat currency throughout history have a 100% failure rate. Every single currency, every single fiat currency that has ever existed has failed. Okay. Now, it is true that the US dollar has been around the longest, and it is considered the world's reserve currency just barely, but it too is going to fail. If it doesn't fail on for pure economic purposes, it's going to fail for political reasons. Our governments around the world do not like fiat currencies. They don't like us having dollar bills in our pockets because that means we can buy and sell things, anonymously. They don't like that. They want to know exactly what you're spending your money on, and they want to be able to control what you spend your money on. So fiat currencies are in the crosshairs of every government throughout the world. Let's just all agree that every government out there is corrupt. They're not looking out for you. They want to retain power and they want to control you. And fiat currencies doesn't allow them to do that. They want to control you. So they are moving everyone toward these digital currencies. You have to find ways to extract yourself from that situation. Okay, so given everything that I just talked about in this video, what's the solution? What can you do? There are 3 things that everybody should be doing. I have to say it's not financial advice. This is just life advice. Just one friend to a million of his friends throughout the world, right? Okay, number 1, you have to extract yourself from the traditional financial system as much as you can. That means your bank. Start getting your money out of your bank for several reasons. Your money is just not safe in the bank. Get your money out of the bank. That's number 1. Get your money out of the bank. Now, maybe not all of it. Okay, you might want to get some of it in there. Now, personally, I keep like 2 or 3 months worth of bill paying in my bank. The rest I pull out. Okay, so that takes care of number 1. Okay, but once you've done that, you're still sitting on a fistful of a depreciating asset. Those fiat currencies, the US dollar and the other ones, okay, they're going down in value. They're going down in buying power, okay? So take at least some of that money, if not most of it, and put it into these guys, gold and silver. All right, gold and silver. Gold and silver is the actual only true money in the world. Currencies are not really money. They're currencies. They're not backed by anything. They're just made up out of thin air by the governments. Gold and silver been around for more than 5,000 years. And this is the only actual money in the world, nicknamed God's money. And of course, the industry term for it would be sound money, right? So gold and silver. So now gold and silver, they have a history of preserving their buying power. But listen, if you can just maintain your buying power when the market's collapsing and inflation is hitting all-time highs and people are selling their beautiful brand new cars, for pennies on the dollar, you can go in, you can sweep them up. Because why? Because you maintained your wealth with these guys. Okay, that's number 2. And number 3 is you want to establish streams of passive recurring income. Listen, a year ago, having some passive income off of a project here or there was nice to have because it's always nice to have extra money. But these days, with the rate of inflation, it's a necessity. You have to develop streams of passive recurring income. Passive, that means you don't have to work for it, right? and recurring, that means it happens all the time. Okay, now my personal program for those 3, which checks all 3 boxes, is a program called 7K Metals. I actually did a video on this. If you want to click on my videos tab and scroll down, look for this thumbnail, and I recorded a Zoom presentation that I did in 7K Metals. The important thing is that you just do these things. I happen to love 7K Metals. It is my very favorite program that achieves all 3 of my recommendations. Get your money out of your bank, transfer some of your money into gold and silver, and establish streams of passive recurring income. Now, when you get into the 7K Metals program, you can be completely passive. You don't have to refer other people to the program. But if you do, if you build a little team, you can make quite a bit extra income off of it. I'll have a link to my 7K Metals presentation in the description below in case you want to watch that. And if you want more information, shoot me an email and I'll let you know when the next Zoom presentation is going to be, or I can just talk to you on the phone one-on-one about it. Okay, so listen, the 2 most important things that I want to accomplish in this video is number 1, awareness, to make you aware of what the landscape is looking like in the financial industry. Being aware allows you to be prepared. Okay. And then number 2 is show you ways to become prepared. I just gave you 3 ideas that will put you way ahead of the average person out there. They're very simple steps, and I think they're necessary steps. You don't have to be a victim in this. We've all heard the story throughout history. People running to the bank. I mean, just recently, look at Sri Lanka, look at Turkey. People rushing to the bank, long lines outside the banks, and the doors are closed. People can't get their money out. Don't be that person. When these banks close their doors, don't be the person standing in line. Get your money out of the bank, get some gold and silver, and develop streams of passive recurring income, all of which I can help you with if you want to contact me below. Okay, that's it for now. I wanted to get a lot of information out to you. I have no idea. I've got a lot of editing to do. If you don't mind, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And Edward Anderson signing out.
Copy that.